It's Farley coming to you from Mazatlan again. This is the Mazatlan Diaries, and today I am talking about the many things that kept us up at night before we moved to Mexico. The things we were worried about getting done, accomplished. How would we do this? How would we do that? Some of the things were big issues and some of them were smaller, but they still plagued me. And me, I'm a worrier. I don't sleep well, generally speaking. And so I would wake up in the middle of the night and go, oh, how are we gonna do this? And how are we gonna do that? And will this be hard? So I'm gonna cover all those things today as quickly as possible. And maybe it will help you on your process if you're planning to move to Mexico, to reassure you that everything's gonna work out. So, but the number one thing, the first thing on my list and our list was selling our home, selling our things, paring things down so that we could move to Mexico, and just getting to Mexico with all our stuff, with our dog. Like that one thing was 100 things, actually. It was like 100 things, but it was really just one. It was just, how do we get here? How do we get rid of our stuff, or even just pare down our stuff? And there are lists that exist. You can Google them, you can find them. Checklists on how to do this, and it takes about 6 months to a year in planning. I mean, what you should do for between 6 months to a year, what you should do at the 6 month mark, the 4 month mark, the 3 month mark, the 2 month mark, the 1 month mark, and the week of. Like, it's a massive undertaking. And of course, once you get here, you have a whole nother slew of things, to do, right? But this is so big, and so I highly recommend that you find a comprehensive list of what to do to leave the country. How do I get out of the United States in one piece? How do I manage to do this in a methodical way? It is not for sissies. It is no joke. It is not easy to do. But you can, and we did it. And we're not smarter than anyone else. We did it, and we managed to do it pretty efficiently. Once we said, okay, let's do it. Let's set a date. Let's put the plans in motion. And we just sort of took one step after another and did it. So find a list. I know Amelia and JP online, on their YouTubers, they have a comprehensive list. The Mexico Relocation Guide has a comprehensive list. There are other people who have done it, who have comprehensive lists. Do that. That kept us up at night. The whole process was hard, but we did it. That was our number one thing we were worried about before we moved to Mexico. Next, what Airbnb to stay in when we first got here? I agonized over that. I looked at maybe 75 different Airbnbs on the app, and I finally centered on one right in the center of the Malecón. That was a great place for us. It might not be a great place for you, but there's so many neighborhoods, and I really got overwhelmed. Well, that ends up being kind of in the center of town, and it was a fantastic place to be. So I really didn't need to worry about it, honestly. But that was a good choice, and we almost ended up renting a place right in that big building. But anyway, it was a good place, and I didn't need to worry about it too much, because wherever you land, you're in Mazatlan. Who cares, right? It's just temporary, so don't worry too much about it. Next, finding a realtor and finding a rental. It's a big deal. So go look at episode 9 and meet my realtor and call her. Or find an expat Facebook group in the city that you're moving to. Maybe you're not moving to Mazatlan, maybe you're moving to Mexico City, or maybe you're moving to Guadalajara, or I don't know. Merida, or you name it. Find those Facebook groups and ask around, right? See if you can get some really good help finding a realtor. I think you do need a realtor. If it's the first time you're moving to a place, you need an expert and you need a legitimately good one, okay? And then finding a rental is fun. And you get to see a whole bunch of places. Don't just look at one place or two places. Look at a bunch. It's not that hard, right? We did it. We did it. We weren't experts at it, but we had a really great person helping us. So go look at episode 9 if you need to meet our favorite realtor. But don't worry about it. It's not that hard. If we can do it, you can do it. Here's 3 in a row. I needed a great pharmacy, a great hair salon for this great hair, and a chiropractor. And I bet every one of you needs some sort of specialist when you're coming here because you have something that you always have done. Maybe you need a podiatrist. Maybe you need something like I need a chiropractor. Maybe you need some dermatologist or a dentist. Okay, so all of that was so easy. First of all, again, the expat forums on Facebook, great resource. Also, Google Maps works down here. Search for what you're looking for, chiropractors, hair salon, barber, whatever, and the ratings are there and you can check them out and alert, hey, go to the highest rated salon, happens to be a block from my new rental. So easy. There were like 3 very highly rated chiropractors right nearby. Awesome, right? And the pharmacies, I recommend you go to the most prominent ones. Don't go to just there's so many farmacias on any given block. Go to the really big companies, and I'm listing them here. It's just smart, right? Go to the ones that are well known. Like in the States, we would go to Rite Aid or CVS, right? Or you'd go to the one at the hospital, right? That makes sense. Makes sense in Mexico too. Will I be able to live without a car? I was very worried about that. Turns out, here in Mazatlan, it's pretty easy to get around without a car. First of all, you can walk a lot of places. If you've picked well in your neighborhood and your rental, you can walk to a lot of places very, very easily. But of course, you're gonna need to go a little farther sometimes. The Ubers are very inexpensive. I've never spent more than $2 to $3 a ride. There's also a Didi, which is another Uber type app, DIDI. There is also taxis, right? Which you can bargain with and get a good rate. There's also pulmonias, which are really, really fun, a little bit more expensive most of the time. But and then obviously the bus services are amazing and very, very inexpensive. So you can get by without a car. You really, really can. We were really worried about opening a bank account. We didn't know if it would be easy or difficult or what. Well, once we had our CFE bill, which is our energy bill, we were able to open a bank account at Intercam Bank. Boy, were they friendly. Oh, man, our particular banker, she was just so kind, so friendly, on call for us. Mexico, they're just so freaking friendly in Mexico. It's sort of jarring almost at how nice people can be. Well, she bent over backwards to help us. They work well with foreigners and expats. And once we had that bill, we were able to open a bank account. And why do I need a Mexican bank account? It's easier to pay your bills. You're going to have bills, right? You're going to have to pay your rent, right, to a landlord. You're going to have to pay your electricity bill, your water bill, and maybe other things, right? So you need one. Intercam was a great option for us. I'm sure there are other options, but we're we are all set in that department. And honestly, so friendly, so simple, and help when we needed it, when we had questions about paying our CFE bill, which we needed help with. I'm not gonna lie, we did. We were a little confused, but it worked out because we had honestly a really nice person to work with. So I can recommend that bank to you, and I'm sure there are others that can be recommended. That's just our experience. So, Wi-Fi. We were a little concerned in Mexico because every time we had come, anytime we were connecting with Wi-Fi, it always said weak security. And I'm sure you've seen that over the years, right? Every once in a while you log in and you're like, why is there weak security? Should I be worried? So what we did is we brought, we had it before, we brought it with us here, our Eero mesh. It's a router. Here's a picture of it. And we connected it to the Wi-Fi that we have here in our rental. What it does is it upgrades our privacy, our security, right, on our router, our Wi-Fi router, and it increased our coverage so that we could go up to our patio and still have coverage and not have to worry about the Wi-Fi petering out, right, when we're a little bit too far away. So I highly recommend you bring one with you or buy one before you leave, especially if you're a digital nomad. You're gonna want really good, secure Wi-Fi with great coverage. So try that out. So we were worried about our dog when we moved to Mexico for a couple of reasons. We wanted to find his special dog food here, and I thought, oh my gosh, that's too big to hope for, right? Well, it turns out his dog food that we only ever got from our vet in the United States is available at our local Petco. In fact, it's just like any other Petco, and it has a whole bunch of stuff that you would expect to find anywhere, right? So don't worry, you will find the things you need for your dog here. And then the other thing we were worried about was getting a pet sitter, someone who could watch Milo when we were out of town. And the expat forums, man, on Facebook, they're the best. And we did find several people actually, but we ended up having someone's gonna come and watch Milo in the near future for us when we go on a little trip, and I'm so grateful. And so we didn't need to worry about any of this at all. Yay, problem solved. Can you watch your favorite TV shows and your favorite sports in Mexico? Well, duh, of course you can, right? But you're gonna need a VPN. Here's a list of ones I recommend. Google them, find out which ones are the best for you, okay? You can use most of the streaming services here, okay? You can Chromecast, okay? You can also get Roku or Fire Stick, right? And use that on the TV that's in your rental or wherever you're staying. There are a lot of ways to kind of make all of that work for you. It's not always seamless. It's not always quite the easiest thing I've found, but for the most part, I've been able to see the things I want to see when I wanted to see them. There have been a few disappointments, like for instance, the Macy's parade. I could watch it live on Peacock, but they don't save that recording, and I didn't realize that, but that's true for anybody else. But I was able to see it while it was live, which I was totally surprised that I could. Anyway, so sometimes, but I guess my point is sometimes live stuff is problematic. But when you're streaming, most of these things are gonna work for you. It's just, you kind of gotta find your way, but get a good VPN, get the Roku, Fire Stick, use your phone, your iPad, whatever you got, your computer, you can kind of make it work. So what else? What else kept me up at night? Well, I was a little bit worried about feeling safe in Mazatlan. Would I feel safe? Well, I do. genuinely. I feel very comfortable here. I mean, I was really anxious when we arrived about a lot of things that we've talked about in this video. But safety was one of them, and I do feel safe here. And the last thing I was worried about was making friends. And I'm still working on that. We have made friends, but it's not the same as being home and with the friends you've known for years and years and years and years and years, right? So that last little bit that I was worried about, we're still working on it. Anyway, I covered a lot, probably not everything that was rattling around in my head in those weeks and months before we moved, but that's a lot of it, and we solved a lot of it, which is like amazing. We've been here 7.5 weeks. Not bad for 7.5 weeks, plus all the months and months and months before we got here. But anyway, not too bad. Well, this is the Mazatlan Diaries. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.